All right, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning. Very exciting weekend, homecoming weekend for a bunch of our relatives who came back home to share in the victory with us here at Grambling State University. Very dominant performance by our coaching staff and football team. They've done an exceptional job all year, and on Saturday they really went over the top. I think Saturday was the first time in a long time where everything clicked together at the same time, you know, offense, defense, and in the kicking game. So there's been times where we've been very explosive before, but I thought as a complete unit on all three phases we were explosive, and that was the result. So kudos to our coaching staff, kudos to our players and the way that they prepared all of last week, and then put together a performance like we did this past weekend.
I saw some tweet, I don't know if it was yours, been a long time since that side's been packed like that, huh?
Yeah, it's I tell you, it's been packed before. I think the whole stadium would have been packed, but you know, the sun was directly over here, so a lot of people were kind of, you know, trying to stay in the shade a little bit. So it was an exciting time. You know, anytime, you know, Grambling fans are around, you know, you want to perform well, and we were so excited that we were able to you know, give our family members a show.
Coach, 457 yards, 6 touchdowns, along with 71. I mean, Devontae just seemed like he wrecked shop out there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been having a great season, but for not to peak, but for it to escalate into this kind of performance, what have you seen from his progression all season?
Well, he just continues to develop as a football player and also as a person. The thing that's so interesting about his performance on Saturday is he could have very easily been, you know, 25 or 26 because he had one throwaway, and the other one was, you know, a ball that hit a guy right in the hands and he just dropped. So it was basically a flawless performance by him. You know, I think he had one time he held onto the ball a little bit too long and it turned into a sack, and that may have been the only mistake that he made on Saturday. So just an exciting performance, you know, for him. And I'm happy for him because he's been through a lot as a young man, but also I'm happy for a lot of our players on our team because, you know, they have been looking for this opportunity and for this day for a long time, and they deserve it because they've worked hard, you know, and they have to, you know, sometimes when you work hard and, you know, as a coach you always want guys to reap what they sow, you know, and it doesn't always work out that way, and sometimes they feel their hard work is in vain. But, you know, I thought this week they really was able to reap what they actually sowed this past week.
You mentioned it being such a complete performance. I know coaches always say there's always something to critique, there's always something to improve upon.
Yes.
But I mean, after a 70-0 win, what are you guys focusing on now in terms of, you know, if there's any fine tuning?
Well, there were 11 penalties that we had in the game, but I think, you know, of those 11, you know, some of them were dealing with being anxious, you know, trying to make a play, a couple of offsides penalties. You know, it's one of those deals where they're trying hard penalties, and I can live with those. You know, the ones that you can't live with are the ones where, you know, guys retaliate after someone hits them and things like that. But I can live with some of those penalties, even though I think we have to reduce those. But when you play as explosive as our team played, I mean, 286 yards rushing, 457 yards passing, I mean, 6 touchdown passes, several guys in the stat category, and then also with the fact that, you know, guys were very unselfish. You know, watching guys really block and be physical and run to the football. You know, it was a total team effort, and I was glad that they were able to feel that feeling. Because now it'll help them want to get back to that feeling again. So that should make practice go well. This is what I've always envisioned, you know, is being able to play a certain style of football and really get some of your younger players in, which helps practice, because anytime a lot of guys play, team morale goes up and practice is a whole lot better because guys feel that they're going to play. So just an exciting time. It really is. We're playing with a lot of confidence right now.
Broderick, I got to think part of your post-game speech was, you know, now we got a lot of work to do. We're going to do it on the road.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's the thing. You know, we've played well on the road since I've been here at Grambling State University. I don't think this week is any different. But the thing about it is, you know, you want to play flawless every week, and that's the dream, that's the goal to do so. So we started by practicing that way. So we'll be very intense in tonight's practice and all throughout the week, because, you know, our team is built on the fact that, you know, we look at it in a way where we're trying to deposit, you know, money in the account so that on Saturday we can make a huge withdrawal. So that's the way our players go about it, and that's the mentality and that's the focus, you know, for this particular week. Alabama A&M is a great program. They're a good team. They've been successful. They've won some football games. They've beat Alabama State by 1. This past weekend, Coach Spady is a heck of a coach. He's going to have his kids ready to play. So our focus is our kids, and our focus is making sure that our guys know our scheme better than their guys know theirs, and our guys play harder than their guys do. So that's just the focus, is to try to do that on Saturday, but it starts tonight in practice.
When you envision something, a game, is this what you think of, a score like that, where you just dominate, start to finish, don't let up?
Absolutely, and that's where we've been trying to get to for the last 2 years, 2.5 years here at Grambling. Is that's been the issue, is being able to handle success. We've been explosive before, but then there were always those little quarters in there where we let up, maybe defensively, or maybe we let up offensively. You know, on Saturday, I can honestly say it was a complete performance, and that's the way we need to play for the remainder of the season. I think we will. I think our guys are understanding that. Once you feel that, you know, it's almost like a golf swing. You know, when you hit that ball on a sweet spot, you know, for the first time, you're always in search of making sure you do that every time. So that's what our guys are focused on this week.
So I've been talking to you about grades for the past couple of years. Is this your A-plus?
Yeah,
A-plus game?
This is about as close to an A-plus as you can get. You know, to me, the only somewhat smidget is the 11 penalties. But I mean, you know, when you play like those kids played, I mean I mean, you have to overlook that. You know, you work on it and you talk about it, but at the end of the day, if we play like that, it's going to be very tough for our opponents this season.
With a game like homecoming, where no more distractions could possibly happen in any other game that you would possibly play, and 70 points and well performance, how does that go to the maturity of the team over the past couple of years?
I think that speaks to our senior class. I mean, these guys have been here. They've been in the tough times. They've seen the good times, and I think they're hungry. You know, and they know where they're supposed to be. They've had the opportunity to meet a lot of Grambling greats, you know, and talk to them, and they don't want to be labeled as the group that didn't do what all of the others have done. So they're very hungry to do that. So I'm pleased with the guys. I'm pleased with their performance. I'm pleased with how focused they are of keeping each other in the ring. The thing is, you know, we know that we're not perfect all individually, but together we can be, you know, because when someone is weak, you can lift the other guy up, and that's what we've done a good job of this season.
I know you've always felt that Grambling's been relevant despite what happened a couple years ago, but do you think the crowd here, tangible evidence, that's tangible evidence? I mean, you see people wrapped around the entire stadium.
Right.
It took some people 2-3 hours to
Right.
get here
Right.
to the game. I can't remember
Right.
that
Right.
since I've been here in the last
Right.
4 years.
That's Grambling. That's who she is. That's what she's always been. You know, we all go through moments where, you know, we're a little weak or we're not where we should be. You know, there are times where we're a little bit overweight and we end up losing weight. You know, that happens to everyone, and Grambling is no different. But you know, when you look at the people that have been here, you know, the stories of the great players and Coach Eddie Robinson and other great coaches that have coached here, this is Grambling. That's the way it's always been. You know, it's a national brand, and we are where we're supposed to be, and that's where we're supposed to be at all times. You know, so that does happen, but we're pleased to be where we are, and we're humble at the fact that we're having so much success. But at the same breath, you know, it's like my dad used to tell me all the time, your last name is Fobbs. And there's a certain way we do things, and that's the way Grambling is, you know. There's a certain way things happen here at Grambling, and what you're seeing is what Grambling has always been.
I was joking with Devontae that he could have, you know, had a cup of coffee, a cup of tea back there in the pocket, because he was not like that he was holding the ball too long, but when he
Right.
was dropping back, he had a clear pocket almost
Right.
every time. I think
Right.
a couple times he scrambled, but what do you say about the offensive line, the job that they did, and the amount of, I guess, credit they deserve when a guy throws for 6 touchdowns?
Well, anytime you have that type of success, 700 plus yards, it goes directly to the offensive line. You know, I can't say enough about Coach Reggie Nelson. He's a heck of a guy, probably one of the more impressive people that you'll meet. I don't know anything that he can't do. Fixing things, cooking, he can do it all. So, you know, for him to be able to get his guys to play, you know, he played a lot of freshmen, and he's been very patient, you know, through the process. And, you know, that's one of the toughest positions to coach, because you're coaching 5 guys, and all 5 have to work together as one unit. So the way that these guys are playing and how hard they're playing, and then even putting in some of our younger kids later on, and we didn't miss a beat. You know, I think it speaks about, you know, our mindset, our mentality, and talent level that we have on this team, and then the coaching ability that we have on this staff.
How much did the overrated comment by Willie Young, wide receiver from Pine Bluff, play into any game planning that went into the last week?
It didn't play into any game planning, but I will tell you that everybody on that sideline, coaches included, took notice of that. And we don't take too kindly to people talking about the G, you know, in a negative manner. You know, there's a lot of people that had a lot to do with Grambling being who Grambling is, and our job is to hold that thing up. So I promise you, everybody was a little bit more motivated, you know, and I know athletes and coaches say that all the time, that, you know, there is no motivation, you know, think that, I keep telling you guys, I'm gonna be honest, yeah, when guys say stuff like that, you know, yeah, we come back at them, and we come back at them as hard as we possibly can. So we're thankful and fortunate that, you know, things worked out in our favor, and we're just ready to go this week to be prepared.
The shutout, was that, I know that's been a goal of the defense for a while,
Yeah.
6 points or 7 points here in the
Yeah.
past couple of games, but the defense shutout was that the defining moment of, I guess, what we haven't done so far this year, defense?
Absolutely, and really, you know, not just us, you know, if you look across the country, not too many people are doing that. You know, offensive football has changed so much. You know, it's no more 3 yards in a cloud of dust, you know, football. It's people making you defend the entire 52 1/3 wide field. And when you do that and you put pressure on defenses with running dual threat style quarterbacks and guys that can throw the football and guys that can catch the ball in space, there's a lot more points being scored than back in the, you know, 70s, 80s, and 60s. So playing defense is very, very tough today. So to get a shutout, you know, today in 2016 in this day and age, you know, it's almost like a purple unicorn. You know, it's not done too often. So that speaks volumes to the success of our coaches, Coach Ware, Coach Graves, Coach Todd, Coach Rhodes, and Coach Burrell. They do an exceptional job, along with Coach Kitchens, of making sure our guys do what they need to do. So, you know, we understand it's a team effort. We're still grounded and focused, and understand that, you know, that we're not high on the hog. We haven't achieved anything as of yet. We just won a football game and played very, very well in that particular football game, and we have to, you know, put this behind us and do the same thing this week, starting in practice.
What do you think that says about your reserves? Because a lot of times shutouts maybe don't happen because the team will get
Yes.
up with their first string, and then it's like, I don't know, 50-0, and then the
Right.
reserves come in, the opposing team maybe get 14, 21 points or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's a goal of ours, and I think it speaks volumes about our reserves. Our goal is to develop a 4-deep football team that where there's no drop off, and I think that's every head coach's goal and every staff's goal is to develop a roster where it doesn't matter if your 1s, 2s, 3s, or 4s are in there. You want those guys to play and have success, and the only way you do that is to work at it in recruiting, and that's the goal. You know, so of course we're not there yet. I think some things happened for us that was fortunate, to help us, remain that opportunity where they didn't score. Of course, we made some plays, but then also, too, there were a couple plays in there that if they would have made and taken advantage of, they probably could have had one score or two. So we're not thinking that, we're all that in a bag of chips. We understand that, yes, it did happen. We were thankful that it did happen. We did play well and deserved it, but there are some things that we have to correct also too, so we can not allow teams to to capitalize on their own mistakes.
Back to the overrated thing, do you use that as a teaching moment with your team, as a reminder to your guys to maybe take it easy on social media and not do anything,
absolutely.
so they're not on the other end of that?
That's one of the first things we talk about at the beginning of the season, because we watch what they do on social media, and in their players handbook, all of that information is in there. We don't talk about, we try our best not to talk about anything over social media that has anything to do with the football team or the opponent. So we talk about that from day one. So that's something that's been instilled in our guys. Now it doesn't always work out, and we always have to reel guys back in from time to time. But at the end of the day, they're 18 to 22-year-olds, and they're going to do things from time to time that we don't necessarily approve of. But yeah, we definitely do that.
You touched briefly on Coach Spady and Alabama A&M, and I know you probably hadn't had a chance to really delve into the playbook for them and the game plan. But what can you tell us that you've kind of recognized over the past couple of weeks about Alabama A&M?
They're better. They're better than they have been. They're much more competitive than they have been, and they're scoring points. So anytime you're dealing with a team that's gotten better, you have to make sure that you're focused and ready. We respect every opponent. And we talk about it in the mind frame of when you go into war. If you wound your enemy, and they're still alive, they're very, very dangerous. And if you don't know where they are, you better make sure that you're focused and ready for what's coming. And that's our focus. We don't want to walk in the jungle, walking around, just singing a song, singing Kumbaya, and something bad happens. So we respect every opponent, and we make sure we know every opponent, offensively, defensively, and in the kicking game, because I think that's what causes great teams to fall, is when they don't respect their opponent. When you look at Mike Tyson and the Buster Douglas fight, it's a matter of not respecting and knowing your opponent and doing all the little details that you did to get to that point on that particular night and before that night, training. So we enjoy ourselves, we have a great time, but when it's time to work, we make sure we do the things that we need to do to make sure that we respect our opponent, and we'll continue to do that from here on out as long as I'm here at Grambling State University.
Do you just respect your opponent in general? Because a lot of times I hear you and the rest of the guys say, like, it doesn't matter who we play.
Absolutely.
It's a kind of faceless opponent. So do you just have a blanket
Absolutely.
respect for everyone, or do you analyze teams and base your respect level off that, or is it just kind of like a blanket statement?
It has no bearing on whoever it is. We respect them to the Most High, and what I consider respect is knowing them, knowing who they are, knowing what they like to do, knowing their strengths, knowing their weaknesses, and then making sure that you work in a certain way that particular week as if you're playing in the national championship game. So to me, that's total respect for an opponent, and that's what we have to do all the time. Now, there are times where you have young people on your team, and sometimes they can start smelling themselves and really thinking highly of themselves, and they can kind of lose a little bit of focus. My job is to keep the steering wheel straight, and to, if it's going off course, pull it back to make sure that we're continuing on the path, along with making sure that we stay the speed limit. That's my job. So I just try to do that to the best of my ability, and keep us in between the white lines, and allow our coaches to coach and do the things that they do well. Times where we've had to Guys maybe not running off the field like they should, blow the whistle, start it over, let's start over again. So it's all part of it. We're all human. So we're not all perfect. But it's my job to make the unit play as perfect as possible. So there's been times when there hadn't been enough energy. You know, start it over, blow the whistle, let's start it over again. So that they understand that, they know that. So my job is to just continue to do that. It's not about anyone liking me or liking us as a staff. It's more about getting the job done, because at the end you want them to enjoy each other and celebrate at the end of this whole thing. So that's what it's all about.